So we are here today with Tara O'Brady, author of Seven Spoons, the blog, and now the gorgeous, gorgeous cookbook. We've all been going gaga over it in the City Line office.
Thank
so
you
congratulations. So for those not familiar with Seven Spoons, could you tell us a little bit about the blog and then how it evolved into the cookbook?
Well, I started the blog about 10 years ago now.
Right.
My 10th anniversary is May 1st.
Amazing.
And it was honestly a hobby to start out. I was working from 9 to 5 in another job, and I truly enjoyed it, but I needed a creative outlet. Right. And it happened to coincide with the time that my boyfriend and I were moving into our first apartment together, and I was really trying to figure out what was going to be our food. He came from a very different cultural background than I did.
Right.
And you know how you all have those comfort foods and those go-to recipes that are your favorites, and ours were really different. Right. And so I knew how to cook, but I didn't know how to be a cook, a person that could cook Monday to Friday and just had a repertoire of our favorite things. And so I used the blog as my place to work out all of those ideas. Right. And it sort of took off from there. The conversations evolved, and as my cooking style evolved, and then from there I started doing freelance food writing. And the blog and the writing followed me as my boyfriend became my husband and had my first son and my second son, and I never went back to that job. And so this is now what I do. And that turned into a book.
How did you choose the kinds of recipes you were going to include in the book?
It was really interesting when I was coming up with the recipe list and when I was going through what were going to be my proposed ideas. My husband was my first reader, as he always is, and he mentioned that none of it was new to him, at least. It is all very new in the sense that there's only less than 10% has ever been published on the site. Right. But for my family, these are our tried and trues. They are our family recipes. They were in many ways the culmination of those 10 years of learning to be a cook. Right. So as all of my priorities changed, as my taste changed, as my skill level changed in the kitchen, you have everything from something really simple to something complex or something that is really great for celebrations. And so it was a book that if I could condense all of the lessons that I learned and hand it to someone, this was what that book was going to be. So I wanted to make sure it had that breadth of experience and was filled with kind of that chatty knowledge that you'd pass on to a friend when you were in the kitchen with them. So that very much informed the recipes that I chose.
For sure. The writing is fantastic in the book. I think that's one of the things that really stands out. In a cookbook, to me at least, is just really, you know, I feel like I've got to know you through the cookbook.
I always say that the book to me is my half of the conversation. If, as I said, if you were in the kitchen with me and we're standing at the counter and I'm chopping carrots or telling you about what we're doing, I'd also be telling you about where the recipe came from or what it signified for my family or those little technique things to pay attention to in the pot. So, because I think that cooking is such, you know, a sensory experience, and so much is really about reacting to what you see. So I'm trying to give all of those clues. So it's not always about the timing, but it's paying attention to how something's smelling or how something's behaving in the pan. So I wanted to make sure that it was full of all of that for you.
Right, for sure. I think the range of culinary influences in the book is incredible. You've got Indian, Middle Eastern, French, South Asian. How did that all come about?
Well, there's a few different things at work. One, of course, is my own background. My family is from the north and the south of India. My husband has roots in Ireland and England. And then what's more is I feel like so many of us are cooking in this very eclectic way. When you're looking at food media or magazines or Instagram or social media or even just restaurants. Yeah. You know, we see all these influences and we want them in our home kitchen. And even if you go to the grocery store now, the fact that you can get varuvan or togarashi or any of these things in your regular grocery store means that there's so much more available to us. And I think that that's inspiring, and a lot of us want to know how to bring that into our kitchens and homes. So I don't really always think about the boundaries between food. We talk about going out for tacos. We don't talk about going for Mexican always. Yeah. And if it's spaghetti and meat sauce, you're not talking about Italian food. You're just talking about spaghetti. Yeah. And so there's this great leveling that's happened, and all of us feel like we can pick and choose, and we have that freedom to be a little bit far-flung in our influences. So it reflects how I eat, it reflects how my friends are eating, and I wanted to have a book that, no matter what the craving was, that you'd always find something in there for it.
Right, for sure. Now you have two young boys?
Yes.
How old are they?
6.5 and 9.
6.5 and 9, okay. And how are they in the kitchen? Are they involved?
They are.
Yeah.
They have taken it for granted in some ways that we come from a kind of a cooking culture. My mom and my dad are great cooks. My husband admittedly isn't, but he's in the kitchen with me. I always call him my Sue, and he cleans up after me sometimes.
That's so important.
Yes. But my boys, I think that what we've always tried to do is have them involved with the kitchen. So whether it be being at the farmer's market and talking about what the ingredients are we're picking up, or letting them pick some of the ingredients, and then me working backwards to try to make a meal around the ingredient that they picked out that day.
Right.
I think that gives them a great sense of ownership over it, and truthfully will always help them in eating it when they're going through those picky times.
It's so key.
I love that it's just part of our day. And we have made a commitment that maybe we take half an hour less to do something else to give that half an hour more to cooking. And so I always liked our kitchen because it allows me to be with the kids. We have a great little area for them to play. So they're in the kitchen with me even if they're not in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So they see that sort of habit and that movement in the kitchen. And it's funny the things that they pick up from overhearing. But admittedly, they love to bake cookies and they pancakes. We have one that's really good with batter and one that is very good with flipping of my sons. And
Perfect.
they have their
system.
they have their specific jobs. So it's loads of fun, and it's great to see them go through those stages.
For many of us, parents or no, I think getting dinners on the table is a particular challenge. Every night of the week. So what's your strategy? Do you do a lot of meal planning? What works best for you?
Truthfully, it depends on the week.
Okay.
If I know that we have a packed week, I will sit down. And sometimes it's a tentative plan. I'm not the most organized always. And also, I'm sort of an emotional eater. I'll be honest and say that.
Yeah.
So if I set out on Sunday and said that on Thursday we're having chicken and Thursday morning dawns and I just really don't want chicken, so that happens.
Yeah.
And so I try to do a general idea.
Right.
And so that is also the idea of stocking my pantry in a way that I feel like I have my secret weapons there. That I know if I have, let's say, bacon and pasta and some eggs, I can make carbonara.
Right.
I'm good to go. And those are staples that I can always have in the kitchen. Or a can of chickpeas, it's amazing what you can do when hard pressed with a can of chickpeas.
It's true, right? There's your protein for starters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was very much with what I was doing with the book, was that I wanted it to be as useful as that it gave you this sense of I can pull together different ingredients, and that only happened out of me cooking for 10 years, that I learned how to do that. And a lot of the recipes reflect that it gives you, if you made one dish, I then talk about how you can make another dish out of using the similar ingredients, or a sauce that you've made for one, how it also really goes well with this. Because so many of us, we don't always want to cook directly from a recipe. We're looking for that inspiration.
Right.
And so hopefully this gives you that framework. If your day or your time or your schedule won't allow for that meticulous following of a recipe, at least you have a starting point.
For sure.
So it's a balance, I would say. But a lot of it is really just being prepared.
Of course. Yeah, and having that pantry ready to
having
go.
that pantry and really and giving yourself that leeway of saying, if tonight is really going to be all about an egg on toast and just make it a really good egg
figs on toast.
Or figs
Honestly,
on toast or avocado.
That is the most beautiful cover shot I think I've ever seen.
Thank you. It's such a simple thing, and yet I find it delicious. But in many ways, I feel like it represents what my cooking's about, which is really simple ingredients treated well and not really putting a lot to get in the way of letting the food be itself. We don't need to have a lot of extra fuss to make something really delicious.
So I wanted to run you through a really, really quick quickfire.
Okay. Oh, goodness. I'm not prepared for this.
I love the quickfires. Believe me, they're easy. They're really easy ones. All right. Favorite vegetable to cook with?
Totally seasonal. Again, I'm moody. I'm such a moody person. I love carrots, weirdly.
Okay.
My kids love carrots. I always know they'll eat carrots. So there's a carrot recipe in the book that's with harissa, because I have a thing for spice, and it's with dukkha, and it has aioli. So you've got fat and spice and vegetables. That's really good to me. Let me think. I'm also a salad person, which sounds really terribly boring, but I love a really great salad. Yeah. I love apples in my salad, which is not a vegetable. Yeah. But I grew up with apples in my salad, and I like apples and a big green salad.
Fruit and
refreshing.
Salad is awesome. I love fruit and salad. Totally. Name one spice you couldn't live without.
Pepper.
Pepper.
Pepper's a spice.
Totally. After a tough day, what food do you find yourself craving the most?
Ice cream.
Ice cream. Favorite cookbook of the moment? I won't say ever, but what are you looking at currently?
Sprouted Kitchen Bowl and Spoon by Sarah Fort.
Nice. Pie or cake?
Pie.
Really? Awesome. Okay.
Yes.
Surprising. Maybe the, which is the one I was looking at in the book? It was like butter tart,
Walnut, cherry,
oat.
butter tart pie.
That is like all these amazing things in one pie. I think it's incredible.
That is based on my husband's maternal grandmother's butter tart recipe.
Okay.
And I admittedly decided to put my little twist on it. And I love it because there's like sour of cherries, and then you've got toothsome and crunchy nuts and oats that stop it from being super, super sweet, because butter tarts are delicious, but sugar coma just a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And but in there is also the caramel apple pie.
Right.
And I would say that part of the reason pie is my favorite is that it's my favorite thing to make, because my family happens to be pastry lovers.
Okay.
My husband's favorite dessert in the world is an apple pie, so anytime I make one, I'm usually making it for somebody I love.
Right. Thank you so much, Tara. It's been so great chatting
Thank
with you.
you.